Done. Good evening, everyone. So we are on a journey of building an excellent health infrastructure. So continuing the same series, we have today panel discussion on three relevant topics. One is setting up of canteen and cafeteria, and setting up of a boutique care, and setting up of a photo shop. So these are some things which, as a doctors, we don't concentrate on. So if you are a hospital owner, or if you're a director of a institution, or if you are a CEO or part of the management of any of the institution or hospitals, that's a time when we will know the importance of all the things which we are discussing today. So we thought that we will take experience from our panelists, their experience of running cafeteria, a boutique care, and a photo shop. What do they feel? So that's why we thought, rather than having as a presentation, it is all about taking experience from different people, because each of the way of working has worked really well, and it is not necessary that everybody should follow the same principle of outsourcing, either outsourcing or running in-house. So that's the reason why we thought we'll have a panel discussion today and get experience from three well-renowned panelists for today's session. We have Dr. Kishore Kumar sir, who is a director and founder of Cloud9 Group of Hospital. We have Dr. Suresh. I call him Shakuntala Devi of Hospital Management. He is the managing director of SKS Hospital. And we have wizard kid, Dr. Shekhar Subaya, very intelligent and very smart when it comes to running hospital and coming up with out-of-the-box ideas. So welcome on behalf of NNF Karnataka. We would like to give a warm welcome to all of you. So before we start the panel discussion, so I request our president, Kotreshi sir, to speak a few words on his experience about how important the hospital canteen and cafeteria, and then we will take up with our panelist. Over to our NNF president, Karnataka chapter president, Kotreshi sir.
Yeah, Prashanth. I wish on this day, as a Karna Rajyotsava of Karnataka, very auspicious day for Karnataka, and I wish you all the delegates and dignitaries, especially Dr. Kishore and Dr. Suresh and Dr. Shekhar Subaya. See, running a hospital is not patient seeing or observing or treating. Should give backup service also. It may be simple, like cafeteria, like sitting lounge, like play area, like recreation, like other foods may be available surrounding area. Then only the patients and patient attendants will be very happy, because each and every step they will not be able to go outside of the premises. If everything is available in the same premises, the patient will be comfortable. Sometimes we feel when a baby admitted, we see a lot of food, more than 10 people will be coming in the night. So their problem is main feeding and sleeping. So somehow we have to accommodate the people, and we should make comfortable. Then only we can give a good beginning of a private practice and the well-being of the baby. These are all the essential services that have been found now. I noticed that Kishore Kumar has done a wonderful job on this one, and that Prashanth was saying that Suresh and Shekhar Subaya, they got well known in this field. So I am very happy to hear their words. Very nice to see all these on one field. Nice to Dr. Prashanth.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So we will start the session now. So I will first start with Kishore Kumar sir. Sir, what do you feel about the importance of setting up of your own food court in the hospital? What is your take on that, sir, about the importance of that? Kishore sir? I think Kishore sir, your mic is muted. I think.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
What is your take on how important the setting up of a food court or a canteen or a cafeteria in the hospital?
See, that's a good question. There is no ifs and buts. One
You can
thing,
turn off the video sir, and then turn off the video, sir.
but
Yes, sir. Turn off the video set, then the.
can you hear me?
I think it's freezed. We'll do one thing. Before Kishore sir connects, so now I request Dr. Shekhar Subbiah sir, please, what is your take on how important the setting up of canteen in the premises or a food court or cafeteria in the premises of the hospital? What is your take on that?
Yeah. Prashanth, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the credit goes to Kishore Kumar about starting a cafeteria or a cafe in a mother and child hospital, because he's the pioneer of all these mother and child hospitals in India. I'm being very frank, and we're just following his footsteps. Why it's important is we need a proper cafeteria for the staff, for the patient, and for the attenders, especially for the patients, because it's a diet based, as advised by the dietitian, and we give them the menu, and accordingly the food is prepared hygienically in the look, in the everything. And I strongly feel we need a second set of cafeteria, especially the kind of the kiosk in the ground floor, especially for the OPD patients, and that requires cappuccino. That's that kind of setup. So it's very important to have an in-house cafeteria for the patients, for the attenders, and for the staff, and it serves all the aspects, and in total it completes the loop of a hospital meaning. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Suresh.
Hi everyone. So yes, having a cafeteria is a must. And if you visited any of the, some of the hospitals abroad, you'll see the cafeteria is as good as a food court in some of the malls. And it depends. One word I'd like to caution is it depends on the type of hospital you are. I know we're talking about boutique hospitals, but there are a wide range of hospitals catering to, you can say, middle class, etc. So either way, I mean, the canteen service should be commensurate with that. It doesn't make sense to have a food court or a subway in a hospital that is, targeting middle class. But at the same time, clean, hygienic food. Talking from the business perspective, a canteen also is a profit center, and how you deploy those profits are up to you. For example, some hospitals like to use the profit to subsidize meals for the staff, because retention of staff is not just the salary, accommodation for staff, the food, good food. And also, if you look at productivity, if you have an on-site cafeteria / mess for your staff, they don't waste time going out, coming back in, and especially bachelor, typically nurses and young technicians who don't bring food with them. You can provide good quality food at a lower cost, which also helps with retention. Like I said, the canteen itself is a profit center. How you deploy those profits are up to you. And when it comes to the patients also, yes, you're able to supply hygienic food, good quality food, as advised by the dietitian. And as mentioned by Subbiah, I think even in outpatient setup, if you've got an outpatient clinic separately or an outpatient hall, having a small coffee shop helps, because patients no longer want to wait patiently to see the doctor. But if you have a small coffee shop and some snack shop, it actually helps them while away time and reduces complaints from the patients. I've seen this practically. So I think Dr. Kishore has joined us, so I'll let him.
Yes, sir. Kishore sir, what is your take on importance of canteen?
I'm sorry, I got disconnected because there was power outage here. Yeah, I don't know what was the.
What is your take on importance of canteen in the premises? What is your view on importance of canteen in the premises?
See, what you have to understand is hospital is not a nice place for most people to go. Some people will be stressed. I mean, mother and baby is the only place where the happiness is expected. Otherwise, hospital is always a stressful place. And when it is a stressful place, plus there is usually waiting period, either waiting for the doctor or for the laboratory investigations or waiting for something else or waiting for a different specialist cross consultation. During that time, they need to occupy. The best time for them is either cafeteria or some place where they can sit and relax. And if you say, look, I'm not going to have any waiting time for anybody, the moment they come they will be seen, the moment they come they will be sent out, then you probably don't need a cafeteria. But cafeteria is like a waiting time place and also a stress buster place. The only thing is cafeteria profitable? The answer is, like anything else, it all depends on the turnover and the crowd. And generally the number of people who will use cafeteria is about 30 to 40% on an average. That is if you maintain a good cafeteria. And if you have a cafeteria next door or opposite to your building, then people may say, let us get out of the hospital and eat there, and because the ambience is better and something like that. So it all depends on the circumstances. So if you for example have a beautiful Darshini or something like that, or MTR opposite your hospital, then I don't think anybody wants to eat in a hospital, and they will say, let us get out of the hospital. But if your hospital is in such a place where nearby there is nothing else, cafeteria is a good thing to have. Basically because it is a place to meet, it is a place to wait, it is a place to stress buster. So it will help a lot of other things. But maintaining a cafeteria is not the prime thing for the doctors, because there's multiple things involved. The last thing you need is an outbreak of cholera or shigella, something like that from the food. So there are multiple things you need to consider. One is hygiene in food preparation, one is hygiene in food serving, and then the hygiene in cleaning up and maintaining the quality. And that takes a significant amount of time and effort, especially because we are competing with the hospitality industry. So employing a person who serves the food, why will he come to the hospital when he can get a better salary in some other hotel? So the turnover of this class of people, it's very difficult to retain, because a nurse or a doctor can work only in the hospital, whereas a caterer or a cook or a cleaner can go anywhere and work. So you may say, well, I'll try to maintain all this, but that class of people, the hygiene, teaching and keeping up hygiene is quite difficult. So you have to consider the whole gamut of things to before you jump in and say we will do this, because it is quite a lot of headache. I'm not sure what Suresh feels. One of the things what you have noticed is, if you go to US, most of the hospitals have a huge canteen, because most of the hospitals are managed by the trusts, not by a single doctor or a single person. And they are huge hospitals, not small hospitals. So it is easier to manage when you have a huge hospital and the trust is managing them. But a single doctor, do you want to have a headache? That you need to consider all aspects before you jump in. As I said, it is not a must, but if you are going to have, then you need to maintain the quality, which comes at a significant cost and effort. Over to you, Prashanth.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Prashanth, one more thing I'd just like to add. Very valid points, because manpower is an issue. Also, if you're running any food service on premise, it has to be FSAAI certified now. If you buy any food stuff, if you notice, there'll be a logo saying FSAAI, like an ISO number, etc. So now even hospital-based kitchens have to be FSAI certified, which has its own requirements. Again, it's more bureaucracy, just to put that out there.
Yeah, so during our college days, most of the famous romantic stories and love stories have happened in canteen, and most of the great ideas have come in the bar. But finer skills and fine tuning of doctors and hospital, I mean the attenders calming down has happened. It usually happens in canteen and good ambience place. So we are very much convinced that having a canteen, a food court is important for any hospital premises in order to feed the inpatients, the staff, and the attenders along with them. The next big question comes is it good to have an in-house canteen or should we outsource it? So first I will start with Dr. Suresh and then Dr. Shekhar and then Kishore sir. Dr. Suresh?
This comes back to what Dr. Kishore said. It all comes down to size. If you're a smaller hospital and you can find someone good to outsource, like security services, etc., it makes a lot of sense to outsource because it's not just running the facility, but management bandwidth. And every time there's a cook who's taken leave and food is not being prepared, do you really want to take on that headache? Whereas an outsourced partner can definitely, I mean, that's his profession. He's got several other facilities, and especially places like Bangalore where you have IT industry. It's a proper seamless business. And but if you're large enough and you want more control, or you think that's something that you want to differentiate yourself rather, then you should do it yourself. But ideally, if you can outsource it while maintaining quality, and when it doesn't mean that, like I mentioned about profit, because a lot of people are, when we're talking about the private sector, outsourcing means it can also be a profit share. So depends on the type of hospital and management bandwidth. All
right, Dr. Shekhar, it should be outsourced or in-house. What is your take on that? You please unmute yourself. Unmute.
I agree with Dr. Suresh. It's outsourcing is always better because it's not a profit-making sector, and it's a lot of difficulties are there to manage a cafeteria, as mentioned by Dr. Kishore Kumar. First of all, getting a good team is so difficult. Who can maintain the hygiene, the quality, and the menu. So most of the time we have this problem because they come from a different mindset. They just want to do business and make money out of it. And when we give them all the facilities, the infrastructure, etc., without making any profit, but still it is very difficult to maintain. But having a in-house cafeteria, outsourcing them is good because we do get the food for the patients and for the attenders and for the staff also in a discounted price. Thank you.
Kishore sir, what's your take on outsourcing versus in-house?
Well, I mean, outsourcing is easy, but the thing is, if the volume is not there, whom you will outsource, they will also not be interested if there is volume. So it all comes down to ultimately the volume business. So if you say, for example, you're a new hospital and you've got 10 orders a day, nobody will serve them regularly because they'll say, oh, it's intermittent, that it comes regular, that often. So your service is definitely going to go down if you outsource it to people who have a huge business and a good quality business, because for them, the customer at their door is more important than the customer who is being outsourced. Having said that, nowadays you have Dunzo, this and that, and people can get the food. But see, if you outsource it, what happens is people will know that you have outsourced it. They will say, why the hell I should go and ask them, and they will order and they will get it. I can only order from my app and eat it. So the thought process with all these young millennials has changed. For example, Prashanth, if you go yourself to Motherhood and they will say, look, what do you want? And we'll order, and Dunzo will deliver it to you in the lobby in the next 20 minutes. Will you go and order in the Motherhood cafeteria, or will you say, I can only order from my phone? Because you are techno savvy and you will say, why should I go through Motherhood and get a stale food I will order my choice on my app and I know how to order. So the whole purpose of outsourcing, it all depends on whom you are outsourcing, how fresh they serve, how quickly they serve, and what is their quality of service. So though outsourcing is easy, in theory it works, but in practice it may not work. When we started Cloud9, we tried to outsource it to 2, 3 hotels. It never worked because the volume wasn't there. And it's like a chicken came first or the egg came first. You know, if you don't have volume, nobody will be interested in your business. And if you don't have any business, then you can't outsource it. And if it is not enough volume, then you don't make money out of it. So it all comes down to ultimately volume, quality, and quantity.
Okay. Prashant, I just want to add on for this, as I experienced with the new hospitals, when I started Bangalore, they were reluctant to start a cafeteria, when we hand over to a team. So we used to get it from the hotel and it was a big mess for us, the quality wise, the time wise. But when we started, we gave a lot of incentives. We didn't collect the rent, we provided them all the infrastructure, and we did give them in the kind of price where they were not under loss. So that's where we have to motivate them and make them to stay for some time till we get a good amount of business. Once they start getting business, then we can implement certain things about the menu and etc. etc. So it's a fine balance basically where exactly you have to put your head and try to streamline the cafeteria. If you don't have a cafeteria, it's very difficult because it's not a completion and people doesn't have food, especially for our staff and for the doctors. Whenever they require food, it's difficult, especially the night staff where we have to provide them with beverages. It's very, very difficult. Same thing happening with Mysore, but I came with the idea that we will not collect them the advance, etc. It's a commercial, basically it's more of commercial. And if you give them the leverage and give them the space to operate and not expecting them to go for a loss, they will stay for some time. And once the patient load picks up, so gradually they get streamlined and we can actually streamline the menu, the quality, hygiene, everything.
Yes,
Prashant.
yes.
One more thing is, like, if you're designing a new hospital and your location-wise, you're in a good location inside the city or strategically, you can design such that the canteen has access from the outside, so that viability. You'd be surprised by the number of people actually come. You'd think they wouldn't want to come to a hospital and eat, but something like a 24-hour coffee shop becomes very popular, especially during the night. Because this is from my personal experience. Every day night we have a coffee shop that has right next to the gate, and I always see people outside night also come there because they know 24 hours, 24/7 they can get a coffee over here. So some innovative thinking wherein you design it to make it viable for whether you're operating it or you're outsourcing it, not just dependent on your own captive audience.
Yeah, that was exactly my next question. How to attract them till they start making profit? So I've already got 2 points.
Prashant, just to add on my experience with this. What happened is, Prashant, sorry. Just to add on, they don't make business for the first 6 months to 8 months, believe me. And we have to have the other revenues for them. Like we had 2 more diagnostic centers next to a hospital. There's a multi-specialty hospital. They didn't have a cafeteria. So I made them to tie up with them, and the food was ordered from our setup, and we used to provide them. And in that way, they stay back, and they start thinking positive. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So you have to make them to earn for their business, and because they don't have deep pockets within themselves. So you have to think laterally and get them more revenue. It may be hospitals, it may be diagnostic center, it may be XYZ. They should get more orders and they should sustain by themselves. And if they sustain, they will give us a quality food, hygienic food, and they'll add it to our menu, and that's how it goes on.
Okay. Sir, your tips and tricks for Kishore sir on making them stay. Is there any of the branches has used any innovative ideas to make them stay? Because now it's a very big brand. So, but what is your tips and tricks on how to retain them with your experience, sir?
Yeah, the outsourcing is very difficult to retain unless they make a huge profit. So in the long run, see, we try to outsource it in the first 1 to 2 years. In the long run, I think I mean, now ours is a big brand and we have a huge presence all over. So we have internally doing it, and we have a chef manager for all the Cloud9s, and quality is maintained and all that is done. But it is a little, it is, as I said, it's not our expertise. So it is going to cause a little bit of pain and effort to do it until you reach some volume and until you reach the size. But in the initial stages, definitely it is worth giving to outsourcing, so that you already have a headache of, if you're a single doctor running the hospital, you already have enough to look after the quality of the medical care. You don't want to be burdened with the quality of the food and the canteen. So initial stages, definitely I would say outsourcing is better. And you can always change the vendor if you don't like the quality, and you can always hide under the umbrella saying that, oh, we have outsourced it to such and such a person, we will change it. But if you are running it and your quality is bad, then it can affect your brand building, because you are a new brand and you want to build, and you can have the adverse effects. See, one of the hospitals in Chennai, when I say hospital, it was not a huge hospital, but they had what Suresh suggested, cafeteria 24/7. And it turned negative influence for them, because people came for coffee, and a lot of patients who came said, oh, there'll be too many people for coffee there, and they will know that we have come to the hospital. Let us not go to that place. So confidentiality is one thing which can be lost if you have a huge cafeteria. So that also need to be considered, because some people don't want anybody to know that they're coming to the hospital. They may be coming for, cardiac checkup. They may be coming for blood checkup. They may be coming for pregnancy. So that issue is also there. So you have to take that into pinch of salt. Or if the cafeteria 24/7 is not hygienic, and they start messing it up, then they'll say it's dirty there and you don't want to go there. Let us go to the next hospital. So it can be a double-edged sword. So you need to be very careful.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The thing is, when anybody attends a marriage, they'll forget the boy and girl. They'll always remember the taste of the food and different varieties of the food which is served. So that's the nature of the human. We always feel very good about when we are getting a good fresh food. So the next question is, how management can control the quality, assured quality assurance of the food, hygiene part, and the safety part. So we will start with Dr. Suresh.
That's a tough one. Actually, before we lead into that, I was actually going to suggest the example of medical conferences, where all of us know the success of a conference is based on the food rather than the content, like the marriage. That too. But yeah, I mean, like Dr. Kishore said, it is not typically a doctor's core strength on all this. But I think the way to approach it is like we approach any other department in the hospital when it comes to quality. You hire the right people, you have systems in place. Obviously, don't compromise on quality. It might be, initially you might have to lose money. But what we've done when we've done both. We've had it outsourced, we ran it in between, then we've outsourced it again. And irrespective whether it's outsourced or inside our own canteen, we've made sure that our dietitians, and we've got good dietitians who monitor the process and are empowered to make changes or bring people to task. So that way you have someone, even if it's outsourced, your own people inside monitoring the whole process. Even then, I mean, nothing is assured, because all of us know we go to a restaurant and 5 times it's good, 1 time it's bad. But we always talk about, it's no longer the same quality. So food is a very dicey thing, because there's so many ingredients coming in, suppliers, too many stakeholders involved, that it's difficult not to get burned, but it's doable. And Kishore was saying that now that because they've got the volume and the size, they're able to operate like a hotel now. I assume they've got an executive chef and someone who takes care of everything. But for a smaller setup, it's a challenge, but it is doable.
Dr. Shekhar.
You have to unmute, Shekhar.
Yeah, what they said is really correct, but little bit of additional experience what I've come across is they go into such a kind of situation where they think about every minute thing. It can be pest control, it can be menu change, etc., etc. So it's very important to take care of them. It can be anything else, even the utensils, buying them utensils, making them very happy initially. So it's a fine balance between quality, hygiene, ambience. Very important is ambience of the cafeteria. If there is no good ambience, patients won't come to cafeteria because they don't believe us. And what we do is whenever there's a waiting period downstairs in the OPD, because it gets busy from 11 to 2 o'clock, we motivate them to go to cafeteria, have a break, and then come back downstairs. In that way, the crowd get distributed, and even the cafeteria people will feel happy to serve them. And the next time when they come, they know there's a cafeteria for them to take a break. So in that way, it's a very multifactorial to have a good cafeteria and to keep them happy and make it profitable. Thank you.
Kishore sir.
Yeah, I think Shekhar knows how we struggled in Mallesham Cloud9 when we started, because he was there from day one. And though canteen was not our focus, half of our effort was focused on getting the menu correct, different the items. Because if you don't have multiple varieties, people will get fed up. In fact,
Exactly.
I can tell you the example of Boston Children's Hospital has got a fantastic cafeteria in the basement. And the moment one of the things when we went for one of the conferences, the staff there told, "Oh, don't go there. It's the same old, the sandwiches you get. Just go across. There's a lot of varieties, and you have series of mini bars and things like that, and you get a drink also. They don't get a drink. So your staff will be the people who will either build or kill the cafeteria." And we had a lot of problems initially, which I'm sure Shekhar can tell you, because we had not many items available in the canteen. So the staff started feeling, "Oh, you get only dosa, idli, and rice and sambar. Let us go somewhere else." So the menu has to be extensive. Then when you have an extensive menu, it has to be fresh also, because if it is not fresh and you serve stale food next day, it won't serve. And if you have so much, then your chances of maintaining the quality will become very difficult. So it all comes down to the volume. So it will take some years. So initially, I think it may be easier to outsource it rather than handling it, because the equipments for cooking will be different. The equipments for the utensils for the serving will be different. The table, furniture and other things, maintenance of the quality of those will be a headache. And you realize that the tables and chairs you buy doesn't last more than 6 months in any restaurant unless you buy a very, very good quality. So when you are not in the cash flow state, positive cash flow, you can be draining on the canteen quite a lot of money. Back
Yes,
to you,
Dr.
Prashant.
Suresh. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Suresh.
One more thing I wanted to add is, when you actually go through all this process and give good quality food, it's also going to cost a bit more than your neighborhood restaurant or small shop. And unfortunately, again, that can be a negative factor where patients they're already fleecing us. Everyone thinks that they're being fleeced at a hospital, unfortunately. And it's difficult as it is to explain why medical procedures cost so much because of the equipment and etc. Now, when you have a canteen that is giving good quality food that equal to what you'd eat at home, and you got a small, small shop nearby who's reusing the oil, is giving it, at 25% cheaper. People don't sometimes appreciate the quality. So it becomes, again, a double-edged sword, wherein the cost of food at your canteen can be more just because you want to ensure standards and quality.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Depending on the total number of customers visiting the canteen, on the volume, so we have to decide on the outsourcing or in-house, so that the profit and loss is balanced. The next question, which is for any hospital, if they are 50 bedded, is there any guidelines from NABH or FSSAI that there should be certain area, specific area to be reserved for canteen? Dr. Suresh, you can start.
No, I mean, a lot of people assume that NABH is prescriptive in nature and says this is what you do. NABH actually doesn't, except for a few things like operation theater, etc. It's more on systems and process. So they don't say you have to have a canteen. But what is this? All they want is what is your procedure? I mean, is there a provision made for supply of food for the patients? If it's being, so you don't have to have a canteen. Food could be brought from outside. But are you monitoring the quality of food, and is it being served and prepared hygienically, brought in hygienically? That is what NABH says. So there's no specific requirement saying that you have to have a canteen.
Having a canteen in-house, whether it is outsourced or run by the hospital management, is there any specific guidelines on area? Like
Prashanth,
yes, sir.
Yeah, Prashanth, there are guidelines because what happens is canteen needs to have the fire safety. So fire safety regulations come in the picture. So if you are going to have a kitchen, so if you are going to have a dispensary of the food, then you don't have any regulations. But if you are going to have a kitchen where you are going to cook food, fire safety regulations come into picture. So all sorts of regulations are there that you have to have ventilation. You need to have it in the corner. You need to have preferably on the roof of the hospital. You can't have it in the basement, and you need to have this area. So there are FSSI guidelines are there. But definitely, if it is a canteen with the kitchen, but if you are going to have a canteen with no kitchen, then you can do whatever you want.
One more thing is NABH again says all relevant regulations, statutes are followed. So when you're running a canteen, again, they'll ask you, are you FSSAI certified? Like Dr. Kishore said, are you observing fire safety norms? Are the people in the canteen trained in firefighting? So that's what NABH does. And since FSSAI is the standard, they defer to that, saying that you should be FSSAI certified.
Okay. Dr. Shekhar?
Yeah, I agree with both of them that, so we have to have the canteen and, we have to take care of it. Nothing more. Thank you.
All right. So training, if you have a canteen with kitchen, one is the fire safety, and there are certain guidelines which needs to be followed. So my next question is day-to-day management of the quality of the food. That is it how your hospital does it? Like, does the nutritionist go every day? They taste food? Yeah. So how does hospital maintain the taste and quality of the food? Is there any, what is your protocol in your hospitals? Does the nutrition takes the responsibility of it, or how it is distributed? How the quality and safety management is distributed in the hospital? We'll start with Dr. Suresh.
Okay. Yes. The dietitian actually monitors it, and since doctors and others also make use of the facility, they also form an informal feedback mechanism. And I'd like to add some recent experience because of this COVID increase. We started a COVID care center, which took over a hospital nearby because the government wanted us to increase beds, and we had to arrange food supply from outside. So what we did was we also took random food. We ordered extra food and had them randomly selected for a taste. Basically, my staff would have it as their regular meal every day. Different staff would have it, so we'd get their feedback also. So that's probably the easiest and simplest way to monitor it.
Kishore, sir?
See, one of the things what leads to success is if you are a boss, you have to make sure that you don't bring food from home and you eat the canteen every day. And that made a huge difference because when we started Cloud9, I used to hear people whisper, "Oh, Dr. Kishore is also eating in the canteen. It must be good." That gives us self-confidence and boosting the See, what happens is if you are a boss and you start a canteen and you bring home food every day in the carrier and you eat, then you don't know what is the quality. So the best way to monitor the quality is you eat as a boss every day lunch there, and definitely you are the best critic of your own thing.
Do hospitals have a quality check meeting of the canteen with assigned person?
Yeah, they will. They should have. You will have. You should have, because as part of the NABH, you will have a hospital infection control committee, or called HICC, and that monitors the infection rates in the canteen, also on the utensils, floor, kitchen, everything. So as Suresh said, NABH doesn't say you have canteen or no canteen, but infection control committee of the NABH definitely needs to look at all that. So the canteen definitely comes under all that stringent regulations of infection control, because if you have suddenly if you have an outbreak of Shigella in your hospital and you trace it back to canteen, that's going to be a very bad reputation, which is going to take a long time to uh, get over it. It has happened. It has happened. In fact, one of the hospitals in Melbourne had, it was a closed door cafeteria, and had an outbreak of listeria. When they investigated, they found that air conditioners in that cafeteria was contaminated and not maintained and cleaned for 3 years, and listeria came from there. So for the next 6 months, their business dropped almost by 70%, because nobody would go, because they had 2 deaths due to listeria. 2 deaths in Australia is a huge number. So it has happened. So if you are going to maintain canteen, then you need to be very, very careful of all these other things. Potable water, infection, potable water, drinking water, all that it needs to be part of the things to look at.
Dr. Suresh, you had raised the hand.
Yeah, it's a good point that Dr. Kishore brought about HICC, because one of the requirements is, like you said, the canteen. You have to ensure that your staff working in the canteen are immunized against typhoid, cholera. So all that is part of your roles and responsibilities also when it comes to running a food service and in ABH. And the quality, like I said, when the MD is eating there, that's nothing, no better quality control. In my case, my mother randomly gets food from the canteen. So she even better quality control. Whenever there's no maid, she gets food from the canteen. So she can be even more better critic than me.
So basically, we need to have, like how we do clinical rounds with the patient. So we need to have a clinical, the food quality rounds in the canteen as well. Dr. Shekhar, yes. Yeah.
I agree with both the speakers. Yeah. I agree with both the speakers. We should have food in the cafeteria. No doubt he is going to serve as a very good quality. He'll be very obedient, very respectable when it comes to us. But same thing has to be maintained for the employees also. When you go to cafeteria, make sure you talk to everybody and understand how is the food quality. Enter into the toilet, see the toilets, make sure it is clean. I know that's very important part of the cafeteria. If you don't maintain a good toilets and it's not clean, it looks very, very unhygienic. And if possible, enter the kitchen and have a look at the kitchen. In that way, you'll have a kind of fear that yes, we also go there every day and look into that. Apart from having a meeting, apart from having a dietitian or a microbiologist entering the kitchen, we literally should get into the kitchen, see the arrangements, how they're preparing food, what's the pest control. The main thing is the cockroaches. We have to control the cockroaches, especially in India. Otherwise, it's a mess. It gets into patient food, and there's a lot of bad reviews against the hospital. Thank you.
Right. So the next important question is, last 2 more questions regarding this. Next important question is, what is the ideal percentage of income from canteen if we get, which will profit the organization in terms of running on their own? I'll start with Kishore sir first.
That's a good question. I think Canteen, if it is run properly, there is no doubt it is profitable. But I think canteen profitability comes after a long time, because the amount of investment you do in the canteen, starting from the equipment to use cooking to utensils, monitoring the maintenance and other things, is time consuming. Profit margin is huge because canteen and lab are the two profit areas where the margin of profit can be huge, provided you have the good numbers. Uh, but unlike lab, here the manual work and headaches are more till you get a good numbers. Once you get good numbers and it's running easily, then you can count on the profit. But it doesn't start with day one. It can be a year or two, depending on the volume of your business and the menu you're going to maintain and the quality you're going to maintain. Back to you, Prashanth.
Yeah, Suresh.
In my experience, the kind of hospital that we have, canteen doesn't really generate much of a profit, to be frank. And we rather concentrate on using whatever profit as subsidy for, like I mentioned earlier, subsidized food for our staff. So that's how we choose to deploy it. But when you look at the whole scheme of things like hospital, pharmacy, lab, etc., compared to the work involved in running a cafeteria, I think it's not commensurate. The kind of work you put into having good quality canteen, we could be doing entirely new department and offering new services. But
I definitely agree with that. I think it's not our area. And as I told in the beginning of the discussion, we are competing with the hospitality industry. So it is very difficult to compete with them, because retaining the staff who have been trained and immunized and hygienic is very, very difficult.
Yes, Dr. Shekhar. Kindly unmute.
I think Shekhar is frozen.
Yeah. Dr. Shekhar?
He's be frozen in place.
No, the moment the profit comes, all the hospital owners and directors state will be saying. All right, all right. So the next question is.
He's back.
Yeah, Dr. Shekhar?
Yeah.
Dr. Shekhar?
I can hear you. Prashanth, go ahead.
Yes. So your inputs on profitability, what is an ideal margin of profit which will encourage the hospital management to have their own in-house canteen? 20%, 30%, or do you have any other inputs regarding that?
Prashanth, I could not hear you. If you can come again, please.
Yeah, see, what is the ideal percentage of profit from the canteen which will encourage the hospital owners or the institution or the trust to run on their own, whether it is 10% profit, 20% profit, or do you have any other inputs regarding this profit margin?
To be frank, you should not expect profit from the cafeteria. In fact, you should not go for a loss also to begin with. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
I think he's frozen again.
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead. I think it's frozen. You can turn off the video. All right. We'll move to the next question. So if there any issue, Dr. Shekhar, you're there?
Yes, I can hear you now. Now I could.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a disconnect in between.
Yeah. So what is your inputs on profit margin, which should encourage the institution or the hospital owners to have canteen in-house, or do you have any other perspective for this profitability?
Yeah, if you ask my limited experience of last 4 or 5 years, I don't think so we should expect profit in the beginning days. Maybe after a year or two, once the patient load is really good and they've settled down, then you can expect around 30% margin. But you can't depend on that, and it should be very, very flexible. You can change accordingly to situation.
All right. So the next question is: suppose if there any problem arises, the health problem, either they get admitted because of the food when they consume food from the canteen, or if any death happens because of the food related things, who will take the responsibility if you have outsourced it? Because hospital also forms a part of safety concerns because they are feeding their own patients. So when it comes to legal liability, who will be responsible for that? We'll start with Dr. Kishore, sir.
The managing director and the owner of the hospital is directly held responsible for whatever happens, and there is no shortcomings there. You could be easily landing up in jail and be behind the bars if there is a death.
So is there any way where we can come out of this legal thing with any of the agreement, or do you have any provision or any experience from your side, sir?
Not as far as I know. I think it is one of the risks which you take, and I mean, clearly any FSSI violation or any hygiene which is preventable, which comes under, if it is a private company, the managing director and the owner or the chairman, whatever you want to call them, they will be held responsible directly. Suresh, maybe you have an answer.
Yeah, there are two parts to this. The one is the legal and the other is the political. Legally, it's simple and clear. You have vicarious liability. That's the term. That means you are responsible. It doesn't matter whether it's outsourced or in-house. Anything that happens on your premises, it is your responsibility. Just like if you have outsourced labor and the outsourced contractor isn't paying PF or ESI, it is your responsibility to ensure that's happening. Similarly, you are vicariously liable. And so think of it like any other medical mistake that might happen in a department, like, wrong medication, etc. So wherein you're responsible. So it's the same. Politically, of course, in India, it doesn't matter whether you're legally liable or not. The moment a crowd forms, whoever is available becomes responsible. Whoever's in front of them.
Yeah, Dr. Shekhar. Dr. Shekhar.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah. Dr. Shekhar? All right. So we will take his input once he comes back. So we're going to end this topic one now. So the take-home message from the discussion, panel discussion, is it is must to have a food serving place. Yeah, Dr. Shekhar, you are there?
No.
Yes, I'm here. Little bit of disturbance.
Yeah. What is your take on legal liability when any mishap happens with canteen? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Shekhar, you can turn off the video if you are having the bandwidth problem.
Okay.
Turning off the video will help.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. What is your take on any legal problem arising because of mishap in the canteen? Who is held responsible, and what is your inputs on that?
Yeah. Look, I have I don't have any experience till now. I think Kishore Kumar will be the right person to answer this, so that I can learn from him what happens if there's a problem in the cafeteria.
He just gave his inputs when you are frozen.
I could not listen to him, so he can repeat so that I understand and learn from it. Okay.
Yeah. No. I think what the question which Prashanth asked is legal liability if there's a death from infection in the food in the canteen. I said the responsibility comes down directly on the MD and the CEO or the chairman of the company or the hospital, and there is no shortcut, and it is a vicarious responsibility. and you can't escape. And unfortunately, that is one of the loopholes which you have to cope with.
So we will end this topic one now. So the take home message for the discussion is you need to have a food serving center because that makes easier so that the fresh food is supplied to the both the patients and the staff. Second thing is like any other patients when we are caring in ICU or in the ward, canteen is also equally responsible place. You cannot just leave it to an outsourced person or the company and sit uh, beyond and try to run. You have to actually involve because legal liability is straight on you and the hospital management. So safety, quality, and the quickness at which you do give the service is, and plus if the volume is good, you can actually think of having your own team to run the canteen or the cafeteria. So based on the volume, you can decide. So, but the quality, safety, and other concern should not be ignored. It is as equally important as caring any patient. So we need to be very, very highly cautious. Yeah. So we will move on to the next topic quickly. So that is the most in topic. We have Kishore Kumar sir who has brought this concept of setting up of boutique care in the pioneer who initiated this, and he has been successfully running from last 13 years. I hope I'm correct. 13 to 14 years.
15.
So 15 years. Sorry, sir. So let us begin his experience of how did he get this concept and what is his experience in last 1.5 decades. What he thought when he started and what is his feeling after running for 1.5 decade. What, sir?
Okay, so the boutique is additional thing which is a good thing to have, depending on what is your focus of the patients. See, if you are going to have a multi-speciality hospital, then you have to have, see, ultimately the concept of boutique is the same as the canteen. If a person is waiting or he wants to do something or he wants to spend some time, you need to have some area where they can chill out. And most hospitals, we are struggling with the space. And boutique gives a space where they can sit and relax and definitely not worry about looking at a sick patient or looking at somebody who is sad and things like that. So it serves 2 or 3 different purposes. One is it keeps the patients occupied mind-wise, and it gives them some opportunity to window shop or sometimes shop and other things. But again, it is not your area of expertise. So if you're a single owner hospital and you're having a lot of space constraints, then that is not something which you should undertake. See, if, I mean, 15 years ago, the rules and regulations in India were different. We were not getting a lot of the baby products which we get today. So we started a boutique shop where we get all sorts of things which are available, including the elemental formulas, formulas for metabolic disease, everything we had kept. And we ran into heavy losses. We actually had to close it after 2 years and outsource the shop to somebody else. So boutique shopping, because what happens is most of the parents will come and window shop and say, I can get a discount of 20% on Amazon or Flipkart, or I can buy it under sale, and they'll probably use that time to browse and know what is available, and they may not buy it. So it is not, it's not something which will make a huge business or a turnover and get a profit. If you have extra space and you want to provide a luxury of people to spend some time, then you can have it, but you should not expect any major returns or ROI from that sort of a um, place. Prashanth, that's a brief summary, but if you want more details, I can talk after others have spoken.
Yeah. Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah, I mean, my experience, because it comes from Cloud9. So after me starting Kangaroo Care, we didn't have place to start in ground floor. So we have to rent it out in the mezzanine floor. But a good company, good brand, and awareness among the patient is actually very important. They should do a business of 8 to 10 lakhs. Then they'll be happy. And once they do 8 to 10 lakhs of business, we have a profit of share. And also, it's very important is they supply us the baby products, baby cloth, and patients also will be very happy to come and shop there when they come for the OPD. It's more than business; it's a facility which is actually required for the patient, and especially they want a good brand. You can't open a local one, but off late due to COVID, all the major companies are closing down. But the new companies are actually coming forward to open and make business. So in Mysore, when we started, now we have a small place, but it's a very significant place. And people would like to buy the products if it is very easily seen, like in Mother Road, it's in the ground floor. So a fantastic place. Similarly, we have in Mysore. So even if it is 150 square feet with a store downstairs, we should provide them. And patients, especially, well, they come for OPD, they're happy to buy the products because they have time to do that. Thank you.
Dr. Suresh.
Okay. Frankly, I don't have much experience in this because most hospitals in India are pressed for space, and we also have the same issue. We did try setting up a small baby shop a few years ago. It wasn't a national brand, but Tirupur being close to us, there was a company in Tirupur that was trying to start a chain of stores, and they were coming out to, they was basically suppliers to other big brands. And they were just started their own branded concept, and we did tie up with them and tried setting it up. It was good quality stuff, but unfortunately, most of the people who came to the shop, those who did buy it actually quite appreciative of it and said, it lasts for long and the stuff is good. But the people were hesitant to buy stuff that was a little more expensive than what was available at the market. And of course, when it comes to babies and children, they grow very fast. And the experiment failed, and we were forced to close it down. So space, I would say in most Indian hospitals, space is the biggest constraint because you're looking at every square foot of, how to put to productive use. And even with proper planning, with providing adequate space, but especially if you're in leased building, again, you have to look at the cost of the lease versus, the revenue you're getting out of that space for the boutique. In a hospital itself that's more premium, upper class or boutique style, yes, it makes sense to have it because you're adding to the experience. It's like you go to a lot of the star hotels and you have all the boutique shops inside. And I seriously wonder how many people really actually go there and buy it. But it seems to be, part of the standard SOP that star hotels have a few boutique outlets over there. And it adds
only Dinakara will buy.
So that's my take on it. So Dinakara, you can tell us your experience of buying at boutiques in star hotels.
Dinakara, sir, would you like to add anything in this?
Regarding boutique, I think I'm done. So I strongly feel we need a boutique, especially in the area where you start. What I felt is in Malleshwaram Cloud9, we did very well with the boutique because patient needed that same thing. I tried in Kangaroo Care Vijayanagar. Initially, there was a lot of reluctance. They didn't understand the concept of boutique in the hospital. Later on, they started actually visiting. The business went up, and the facility for the patient actually helped them because we didn't have a good brand in that area. Same thing, what I did in Mysore now is I've given in the ground floor because it really works well. Because in Mysore, we have started in a very nice area. So patients and people expect that boutique facilities. So it is required. If you ask me, it is required for the hospital and it is good for your income also, parallel income.
Okay.
So it depends on the area, Prashanth. See, what happens is if your hospital is in an isolated place and there's not a nearby any shopping complex, then then it will do very well. But if you are nearby shopping complex or opposite line of full of shops, then people may not shop here. So certainly again, similar to the concept of canteen, that is not your area of expertise. If you're going to outsource it, it's easier. But if you're going to run it, then there's a lot of headache in a stock procurement, maintenance of stock, and clearance and expiry dates of various things. So a lot of things need to be considered. So but it's desirable, not a must to have, because ultimately, if you look at the ROI, the ROI from having a extra 2 beds or 3 beds in the hospital will definitely much more lucrative than having a boutique shop. So uh, if ultimately it comes down to whether you have extra space and where is the location of your hospital, what is the shopping area nearest distance, and what is your clientele also, because if your clientele is upper middle class um, and above, then probably they are going to spend. But if you are going to cater for bottom of the pyramid like Arvind hospitals, then I think boutique may not be required. So several factors need to be taken into consideration. Are you catering for bottom of the pyramid? Is your area of the hospital in the shopping area? Not. And whether you have extra space, all those three things need to be considered. Back to you.
Yeah, Prashant, just to add on with Dr. Kishore Kumar. Yeah, I agree with him, but most of our mother and child hospital is in a very good locality, and the requirement is there. And on top of the boutique, nowadays we are getting the offer from Himalaya or Mom and Co. They're two extreme brands. One is for upper middle class, one is just for middle class, and both works very well. So they require space, very minimal space, and the patients are very happy to have that particular product seen directly in the OPD area. And they do avail the facilities, and meantime it's a indirect income for the hospital, so that you get a good rent out of it. And we have Mom and Co, we have Himalaya, etc., in the lobby area.
Yeah, yes, Dr. Suresh.
I think what Dr. Kishore said towards the end is very valid in sense. It depends on who your clientele is, the target population. Is it bottom of the pyramid, BOP, or the middle of the pyramid? So in that case, I would seriously hesitate. One other thing that you can do, which we've done, is we have fairly large pharmacy. So we've got a certain part of the pharmacy, like a display area, rather than dedicating space to an entire boutique, but we've got display area for certain necessities which people do buy from there. It's not a boutique, as you say, but we're still catering to our clientele with providing the facility without dedicating too much space to it.
So the next question is, which model is better, to go with a renting the space to the outsourced boutique companies, or go for a revenue share model? We'll start with Kishore, sir. Unmute, sir.
Sorry about that. It again comes down to the volume of business. See, if your business is very high, then I think revenue sharing is better. But if your business is low, then leasing is better. So it all comes down to the area of the boutique you are going to give. If it's small area, you are going to expect a huge revenue, then I think revenue sharing is better. If it is going to be a large area, then revenue is not going to be huge, then lease area is better. So it ultimately depends on where your locality and what is your target population, and then you can plan it. And how old is your hospital? So clearly, if your target population is upper middle class and you are in an isolated area, then I think revenue sharing is a better way.
Yes, Dr. Suresh.
Another thing that should be mentioned is placement of the boutique is also important. I mean, if you can place in such a way that visitors coming to see the patients, especially in a mother and child setup, can be funneled through the boutique, you'll automatically have more business because you'd have more people picking up stuff to gift over there, etc. So if it's hidden away in a corner because that's the only space that you have available inside the hospital, it might not be as successful.
Dr. Shekhar?
Yeah, I totally agree with them. So placement, area, and what my experience is initially they do give a fixed rent, and once they improve the business, we go for a revenue sharing model. In that, actually, even 1 or 2% makes a difference. I mean, many people want to give 10%, 12%, 14%. There should be a slab. If they make business of X amount, 10%, then X amount, 12%, 14%, like that. But most of this corporate brand, they won't give you more. But yeah, actually, it's a profitable business if you give them a proper place and proper business. Yeah.
All right. So I think we will end this one, setting up for boutique setup within the hospital. The take-home message is if you are in a place where the shopping complex is less, but the volume is good, and if you are able to provide a space, an appropriate place which should not be a place which can be utilized for the patient, it should be a place where it should be available, not so that patient cannot be put in that particular place. So if you have such kind of setup, infrastructure, and availability of the outsourced companies who are ready to come in and set up their care boutique center over there, please go ahead and do it. And to start with, to reduce the headache on the managing part, try to outsource it. Go with rental or lease-based model. Once the volume picks up, then you can decide to continue whichever gives more profit. You can switch accordingly. All right.
Prashant, just one point I have to tell you.
Yes,
there was a hospital in Canada which had a boutique, and one of the mothers who bought a bouquet of flowers had noticed that there was a lizard in it, and she sued the hospital and successfully. So I mean, it can be a nightmare if the person who is outsourced is not going to maintain the quality. There are negative things also, so you have to weigh the options before you consider jumping in. But overall, in general, if you have a space, if you have the clientele which you are catering to, then you should have a boutique. But if you're going to cater, as I said, to the bottom of the pyramid, then I don't think it's probably the priority. Back to you.
Yeah. So now we are moving on to the next topic, that is the setting up of Photoshop. So now we are seeing it's a selfie world now, where everybody prefers to take a selfie, a memory to be stored whichever place they go in. And this concept was again started in Bangalore by Kishore sir, providing that luxury, decorating their cars, decorating their rooms, which was unheard. And it became a sensation in Bangalore. And I was doing my post-graduation at that time when Cloud9 started. So we were all surprised. There is an hospital in Bangalore. I never thought that one day I'll interact with Kishore Kumar sir, asking him this question. But I had it in my mind when I was doing my post-graduation that I was in Assam and I got a news that there is an hospital which has come up, which decorates the car, which decorates the room according to the gender of the baby once the baby is born. And they give a lot of other luxury services. They also provide, photo shop, photo album, and other luxury thing. So how did this concept come in, sir, in your mind? And what is your take on that?
Yeah. See, Prashanth, that's a very, very good question. The initial thought came because of my own experience. When my son was born and my daughter was born, I took a lot of pictures. I had a EOS 500 SLR camera, but I wished there was a professional photographer taking a beautiful pictures. And because at birth, the memories of the pictures is much more than any other time. And so when I started, I felt having a photographer taking the quality pictures is an essential thing. So it was purely from my personal experience, I wanted to do it and see what people feel. Now, the decorating the car, we didn't do it from day one. In fact, it came because I used to watch the mothers after having born and taking the babies out. And one day I noticed they were so excited. The mother, grandfather, and father all looking at the baby and walking to the car. And nobody else was excited because it was a routine thing for everybody. And I felt so it was a dull, discharge, or if you want to call it sending off these parents when there was so much excitement. So that's when we were about 4 months old when we started decorating the car, purely from observing things and see how we can improve the experience of the parents. And that's when we started decorating the car. Now I have to tell you this experience, because when we started decorating the car, one of the fathers who had delivered in the first 2 months of Cloud9 experience came back, and he started telling me when he came to outpatient, "Doctor, you didn't do this to us. This is not fair." I told him the reason how it started. So he was very, very happy because his wife became pregnant again and he was expecting the second child and he's going to be decorated. And he was so excited that first time I didn't get it, second time it's going to happen. It so happened, out of the 65,000 deliveries we have done so far, we have not missed anything. That day when he was about to be discharged, the housekeeping was busy and they didn't decorate his car. And he was so furious. He was passionate about Cloud9, but he started yelling, saying that I came because I wanted this and you didn't do it. So that was the only car which we had never missed decorating, and he was so upset. Then we finally tried to, console him and give him the decoration, but he said it's not the same. So the background of that is that's how we started, and that's how it all happened. And it is something which the parents cherish, because first time when they are so excited, they want to go home with the memories which are positive rather than anything else. Back to you.
Yeah, Dr. Shekhar, and then I'll come to Dr. Suresh. So, Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah, entire credit goes to Dr. Kishore Kumar. It was his brainchild and idea, and we're just following him. So in myself, nobody's decorating the car, but I was surprised when I started doing it myself, and I announced that even Columbia Asia is also doing. So everybody is, and even parents expect the same. So it's a good gesture what we do from our end. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Suresh.
Dr. Kishore, are you sure that wasn't your tactic to get him back for the third delivery?
Yeah, it's a good tactic, but it doesn't work in India.
Yeah, I know.
In Australia, the Prime Minister used to say you need to have 3 children, one for you, one for the mother, and one for the country. But here we have overpopulation. People are restricting themselves to one child. Prashanth is an exception, having a second child now. So number of children being born to the parents is almost one most couple.
Yeah, South fertility rates have dropped to, in fact, Kerala's dropped below 2.1 replacement. I mean, going off topic, but fertility rates in the South have drastically dropped, and especially Kerala and Tamil Nadu, it's gone below the replacement rate of 2.1. So, I mean, this is an excellent idea. And Dr. Kishore, one of the other things I do other than the hospital is I actually run a couple of car dealerships. And this is done when you deliver a new car. They decorate it, and this is an excellent idea wherein you're having taking home a bundle of joy, and this is the extra mile, wherein especially if they don't know about it in the least expected, it really is a differentiator. And hats off to you for having thought of it. Other than that, I don't have much to add on that.
I think, sir. Actually, when any pregnancy happens, we always address pregnant ladies as patient with 30-year-old patient with first gravida, scum with so and so, like that. But after the Cloud9 came, I think that is a time when everybody started realizing that it is not patient, it is not pathological, it is physiological. So pregnancy is physiological. Pregnancy is a time to cherish. Pregnancy is like enjoying the moment of introducing the new soul to the family. So that concept was there, but it was never came into practical applications. So after Kishore sir's brainchild, the things started rolling out, and everybody has accepted now. And if any of the hospital, mother and child hospital, if they don't decorate the room at least with balloons and few other decorative things, they'll always compare and write a review that we were not treated well. So the concept of pregnancy being made physiological and made more joyful moment for the family. So this is definitely one of the thing, having a photo booth or a photo shop, so that photo shoot where they get good memories of their kids. I wish when I was kid I had one, because that's why I keep doing it for my son. Most of the time, every 3 months, I'll have a photo shoot for him. But definitely, it is a very nice and wonderful idea, which has actually revolutionized the concept of pregnancy being physiological. So we are sending a message to the public that please cherish the moment. You have a lot of reasons not to be happy, but you have every reason to be happy with when such happiness come to the family. All right. So I think we had a great discussion, very detailed discussion. So now the session is open for discussion. Dinakar sir.
Prashanth.
Yes, Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah, just to add on, because we are decorating the cars, but we are somewhere, we have to do it nicely. That's what my feeling. We don't wash the cars, we don't have I want to do a kangaroo care baby on board, something like that, like Cloud9 baby on board. So, and that should be a baby on board kind of sticker where they can use it when they are traveling for long distance. We should add on few things. So that's like I've given this task to Darshan, him. So we have to have a kind of basic kind of sticker where we can use it for traveling also. We have to improvise our concept basically.
Make it more joyful and cheerful for the family.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dinakar sir.
Prashanth, I am here, Prashanth.
Yes, sir. The session is open for discussion now.
We are all seeing Prashanth.
Dinakar, we were missing
Dr.
you.
Arvind. Sir, Prashanth is having 34 questions. So he bombarded on Suresh and you and Shekhar.
No, we had one question. Who will shop in the 5-star hotels? We said Dinakar.
Sir.
No, he'll shop only gold.
I was there in SKS hospital recently. Sir, so nice it is. So nice and so big. Whenever I was telling, he was telling, no, it is small, and he is exaggerating. Now also I'll tell you, wonderfully managed, and he is having inside canteen. So means outside of the hospital there is a juice and canteen is there, but nearby this thing there is a juice shop and even cafeteria is there. So he is having it, whatever the patient's needs, including tender coconut, he is having it. So I was observing all those things. And even in front of Cloud9, next to the Cloud9, there is a idundi volume. So Cloud9 also, there is on the top, there is a cafeteria. Next to that, one more cafeteria is there. Next to that, you have what is that big bazaar or something? What is that big one? One shop is there. So everybody is having cafeteria, sir. One more thing, just I am telling you, sir. I have admitted my uncle recently. For them, we have gone to see at 1:30, 1 o'clock. When we started at 10 o'clock, reaching there at 1 o'clock. We were all hungry. Where to have, sir, food then? And they will allow only at 4 o'clock. But in the meantime, we have to talk with their all relatives. Sir, if we will think sensibly, instead of we keeping, at least if you are opening your hospital, neighbor to your this thing place, at least there should be one, what is it, Udupi Cafe or Kamath, like that hotel should be there. At least in the hospital, some cake. Sir, in Cloud9 people do come who will eat bread, bun, puff cake, and, all English food they will come and eat in Cloud9. Just imagine in places are like ours, we don't even touch puff cake, bun, and English names food. Nobody will touch. Coffee,
that's where you need Prashanth's help. You need to dunzo it from Taj to your house directly. You will get it in 20 minutes. You need to download an app.
When it comes to Kolar, I doubt.
Sir, Kolar and all, you are asking Zomato, Denzo, all those things. How it is possible in periphery? Sir, see, 20 people are there. But just I am telling, see, 29 to 31 it has gone. Because the discussion, many people have sent a message to me. So all the people are talking in a corporate style, Dinakar. What about us peripheral who are logged in? I thought I will interfere here, but I thought Prashanth will have a note, but he didn't have it. I am really little upset. Prashanth,
So that's why I introduced you, sir, to bring in that added thing. Please go ahead, sir.
Sir, because so there are so many people are there in the periphery and in the district wise level 2, I mean tier 2 cities, tier 3. So that is the reason 9 people have left. No. When we talk next time, your
Dinakara,
question should include periphery this thing.
No, Dinakara, in all fairness to Prashanth, he asked the question and we did say it depends on the clientele, your location, and space in the hospital. All three we said. So if you are going to cater for people, you're in an isolated place, and definitely you need to provide that, because otherwise the nearest hotel is 6 kilometers away. Then they need food. When they're waiting for other things, then you need to have a cafeteria. So location will determine whether you're going to have cafeteria or not.
Sir, one more thing, sir. One more thing, dear Prashanth, one more thing. At least for the nurses, what we are providing the food in at least last time you only told, sir, or Suresh told, from 12:30 to 2 o'clock, some rice, sambar, or whatever the food you are having for the nurses, it should be served in the plate. Like that, at least some cafeteria place we can keep it. Is it true, sir?
Sorry, what was the question?
Sir, suppose in the place where we are not having the cafeteria, we are not able to keep, we are not able to take the, because cafeteria should be taken permission. You know that.
Correct.
For that big hangama, big once again bribe, because we have already tried big hangama, big 30,000 rupees bribe. Even if you'll keep coffee and bun bread, that also they are asking same like 30,000 bribe and permission money. So everywhere in India, I am feeling fed up. Bribe. Even after that, sir, if you are serving for the nurses food in your hotel, if you are having the canteen, if you are bringing from outside and giving to the patients, you should take a permission from the government. Food license.
So the government cannot be changed overnight. That's where we expect you, Shekhar, Subbaya, and Prashanth to become MPs and MLAs and then change the rules.
So Prashanth is 5,000 crore owner, sir. How can we catch him, sir?
No, but unfortunately, that's true. What you said, the Dinakar, is true. See, there is what is called as a single window clearance for software industry, where you have 28 licenses which will be given in one window of approach. That was introduced after big people like Azim Premji, Murthy, and all people went and approached the government and streamlined it. So that helped a lot of the newer comers in the software industry. They don't realize how much work has been done by all these people in the past. Now, when we started, there are 34 licenses which are required for a small hospital like ours, whether it's Cloud9 or Motherhood or Kangaroo Care or anything like that. So we did approach whether we can have a single window clearance, and the The problem is the government was not interested because, see, a software industry will bring a revenue of so many crores. Just to give an example,
Yeah.
Apollo Hospital is 28 years old this year, and their valuation is 15,000 crores. And people talk about Apollo Hospital. Whereas Infosys is also 25 years today, and their valuation is $300 billion. So you can see the revenue. So to start with, if you talk about the money and influence, we're in the wrong field. And unfortunately, that's the truth of life. And if the best example, that's why I can give you is Pratap Reddy versus Infosys. Both of them are 25 years plus in the service industry. And the valuation of Apollo Hospital is 25,000 crores maximum. And whereas Infosys valuation is $300 billion. So you can't compare that and the health sector at all. So the amount of work involved or pressure to put on the government, all the healthcare sector people have to unite. And that is next to impossible, having seen the recent elections, you saw how divided we are. So you can't achieve things unless we are united. I'm sure Shekhar will agree with that also. Single window opportunity, if it is there in the health sector, it will. I mean, I tried. I should admit it. I have not tried in the last 7-8 years, but initially we have tried to establish a single window approach. It didn't happen. I think Suresh has raised his hand.
Actually, coming back
Suresh.
to it, yeah. Narayanamurthy, Azim Premji actually threatened to walk out of Bangalore.
Correct.
Because it was not just they went and they said they were going to walk out of Bangalore, and they have an industry that it's fairly easy to relocate, as the current crisis shows people working from home. Whereas now, once you build a hospital, where will you go?
And if you threaten to walk out, they'll say, please go.
And one small correction, sir. Apollo was started in 1983, so it's 37 years old, not 28.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is both of them are more or less that amount of years.
Same vintage.
And if you look at the valuation, Apollo shares are still hovering around 1,000 plus rupees, whereas Infosys already has been multipled and decimaled and quadrupled and things like that, and it's still so high.
Actually, I'd like to add something on outsourcing, a little bit tangential. But for example, if you outsource a service like security, ideally you want outsourcing. But any other industry, because if you outsource services, you're charged GST at 18%. You can take it as input. Whereas the difference between running your own, hiring your own security versus outsourcing it, you're actually ending up spending 18% plus whatever margin more, whereas you can't take input. In places like UK, where they have a VAT at 20%, there's something called zero rating, where the government reimburses any GST charged to an industry like healthcare, wherein there is no input tax. So that is also a big hindrance for hospitals to outsource a lot of non-core areas. Since we are talking about canteen and outsourcing, this is something I think that should be brought up. And unfortunately for everyone, from politicians to the bureaucrats, they think doctors make big money. That's why they want to start hospitals and make even more money and they think of it as a cash cow. But when you see the amount of income that the government makes out of a hospital, I think their margins are more than our profit margins in terms of GST, registration, land registration, every other taxes add on, your property taxes, water taxes, all these things. They actually make more money than hospital owner.
I think following the
Suresh, I have doubt. Suresh, I have one doubt. Because you people are, I think so. I know that you are there in the US. Kishore Kumar might be, his second home is US. Already Harvard University, he is having in the red shirt and white this thing. And next to Prashanth will wear this. Okay. Prashanth will wear this. Next, I think so. Shekhar also, I don't know where he will put it. Okay. One small. In abroad, I have seen where I have gone in my limited this thing. The canteen in the hospital, beautifully they have they have made it. The tender coconut, what they have chopped so neatly, set that one small prick, they can put the thing. So they have chopped. That is also whatever that color, what we will get yellow color in Tamil Nadu and other places. like that beautiful colored coconut thing. They chopped everything, said that everything should go full that coconut only, all the outer cases. They kept it one another beautifully around 50 with this thing, and all the whatever I told you English foods, they kept it like bread, jam, that thing, this thing, and all. And do you think in India also, suppose if we will keep, because neighbor the hospitals, if you don't have the vendor of this thing, what is it, tender coconut, even for that we should take a permission, because coffee we are selling there. Because when I went to Kolar Municipal, they are telling if you are selling coffee, you should take permission. Then tender coconut also, do you think, Suresh, we have to take?
Probably yes, because it's considered a food service. The moment you're vending any food, you have to take permission. Easiest thing was, easiest probably is, get one of the tender coconut vendors and ask him to set up his own stall right outside the hospital.
Yeah, that's what. And only one problem is, if I'll keep him, he won't clean it in the Kolar. Then you know that some XYZ community people will keep it. They won't clean. Then it will breed. It will bite me. Then one day before I see the money, I'll die with either some dengue disease and I will die. Like Papa, that fellow who died, famous.
Dinakara, don't think too much negative. It's working well with Kangaroo Care. We have a vendor, tender coconut vendor, and he does
boss,
very well.
I took from there only 2 tender coconuts. Don't worry. And one more thing, I think so.
So every time you have tender coconut, you are blaming him. Okay, when you come to Kangaroo Care.
No, I think a lot of vendors now are more aware. I don't know about Kolar, but even here I see street vendors. They keep dustbins, they clean up the place because they know to come back. And an interesting story, because you brought up tender coconut and you said you had saw it at SKS. This whole tender coconut thing came about when my father started the hospital, because he's a urologist, and he used to prescribe tender coconut to a lot of his patients. And one of the vendors realized it's good business and came up and set up shop right next to the hospital.
And the fun part is, with our tender coconut guy, he gives me all the secrets of the area. So whenever I talk to him, he gives me all the secret inputs. What's happening? Who has come there? So it's
intelligence report.
It's an intelligence report.
Spy. Okay, one more thing. Do you think boutique, and I have seen Kishore Kumar sir, it is for you directly, sir. People are there, sir. Sir, Kishore Kumar sir.
Yes.
I've seen Cloud9, the Photoshop is there, boutique is there. Do you think in periphery or in a tier 2 city? Tier 2 city, I have seen in Kangaroo Care, Photoshop beautifully saja hua hai like a dulan. Okay, do you think it is all necessary for the hospital, or is it only a gimmick? Or boutique means it is simple flower, take it, or that is it anything else? Gift shop is okay, or mother cloth, that is okay because baby something, pamper, gimper and all, or milk, I mean whichever the lactating mother. But is it true, even gift shop, is it only gimmick? Boutique also gimmick, Photoshop is also gimmick.
See, it all depends on what you're catering to, whom you are catering to. So if you're going to have a multi-speciality hospital, if you have a boutique Photoshop, they'll throw stones at you, because nobody wants to remember that he had a heart surgery or kidney removed or hip replaced and have a photo of that. People want to forget what treatment they have received and they want to remain healthy. But if it's a mother and baby, then definitely it's a pleasure moment. And I was explaining earlier, I don't know whether you were there or not, how it started, because I remember the time when my son was born, and that's why we started having a boutique photograph. So birth is a happy time, so people want to have sweet memories. But if you are having a multi-speciality hospital and you say, come, you had a hip replacement today, let me take picture, they'll definitely slap on your face. So it depends on what is specialty you're catering to, and what is the area you're in and your clientele. If you're catering to the bottom of the pyramid, then I don't think a boutique shop and photographs is required. But if it's a pure maternity hospital, then I think it makes sense to have, because it's a happy occasion.
Yeah. So I think Shekhar.
To add on one word, see what Dr. Kishore Kumar said is correct. So it may be good for major cities like Bangalore, etc., and also for Mysore, not for the town sector. It's an indirect way of marketing. So the experience what I have in Mysore is that there is already established. He has got photo shoots in all the families, and he is bringing patients to me indirectly. So when you want to start a unit, all these small factors matters a lot to get the the setup going. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very
And
nice.
second thing is a photo speaks more than a report. You can't show a report and tell that these are memories I have. If you have photos, you can show the memories because it's a kind of physiological, way of presentation for a pregnancy. Photo speaks a lot than a report.
Yeah. Kishore Kumar sir. Kishore sir.
Yes.
Sir, one small thing I want to tell to you and Shekhar also. When I met Suresh, so the software what he is at least is having so passionate doctor he is, whole floor of I think so 4,000-5,000 square feet. He kept so many people to develop that software. The passion, he is the master behind. If they don't know, he's putting in his office so many I feel that I don't know what in computer chip. It's for me. It's like tanking or runway. It is like buildings. For me, it was looking like that. He's having so many things. His software is so amazing, sir. First time in my life I have seen his laboratory thing. Everything is sophisticated. Photograph, we can whom we are taking, whether this patient is same patient after billing, and all the bottles it will show which bottle we should take the which sample, and not only that, and everything, even syringe pump, infusion pump, everything, it is transported to the mobile, and everything is a central nursing station. And more than anything else, he is having a hero score that I don't, sorry, have you heard of hero score in a neonate? Baby is deteriorated. He is having it, he is transporting all the patients' data to America with the consent and with everything. And he is getting the score from there for all the patients. And it is doing a tremendous job, Ramakrishna and he. Not only that, how many we people know that icon, there is a machine, it will show SVRI. Systemic vascular resistance is high. So please try to use Milrenon or Dobutamine or whatever the nitroglycerin or whatever it is necessary in neonates. And this patient is having the vascular dilatation. Please use vasoconstrictor, this thing. So beautifully, he is bringing all the things, not only TCO2. He is very innovative. His software is very good. It is a complementary to him, sir. Sir, you heard of anything regarding icon, any machine, it will show SVRI or TLC, total lung fluid capacity.
So all these are examples of the artificial intelligence being built in, and there's a lot of work going on everywhere. And people like Suresh who are passionate are the ones who are responsible. I don't know whether you know it or not. The two Israelis, no, not two, three Israelis designed artificial intelligence about. See, normally if you do a CT scan at 2 o'clock in the morning to see if there is a stroke in a person who is unconscious, you needed a radiologist to report it. Now there is a AI which reports there is no stroke or stroke. And that software was released about 4 years ago, and it was snapped up by that software for a few $1 million by GE and Siemens in one go. So artificial intelligence is going to revolutionize the medical care in a big way. In fact, what you are telling, all that suggests that it is artificial intelligence, because at 2 o'clock in the morning, if the baby deteriorates, you may not have a Dinakara with 25 years of experience to look at the neonate. So the artificial intelligence should say, look, this baby is going to get worse. You need to give this and give that. And that's how we are going to improve the care. We are actually in the process of starting our artificial intelligence in maternal care on a trial basis, where I mean, we will have the results in about a year or two, but right now we are in the trial phase, where if a woman walks in, we can say this is the risk of this lady getting pregnancy-induced hypertension, or this is the risk of this baby having a premature delivery. That sort of artificial, but it has taken us 3 years to build it. So it's not going to be overnight, and it has to be proven it's what do you call with no loopholes, 100% reliable before you can implement it. So it is going to take a lot of passion, lot of work, and at the end of the day, you may or may not get the results. But if you are passionate, you work on it, you will get it, and that's exactly what you are describing, and that's commendable. If the artificial intelligence at the end of the day makes going to neonatal care improve in a big way, because there is at least 4 companies I know are working on that now. Back to you, Dinakar.
Sir, how does the artificial intelligence has come out for the maternal thing from the day she is conceived, and according to her history and according to the ultrasound pictures, according to the biophysical profile and according biophysical profile, ultrasound and examination and other things, sir. Some nectin, gictin and all is coming, some chemical things where it is there.
Correct.
So according to that, is already GE people have, sir, they have given to me already, sir. That one, it is a very good, sir. And one more thing, sir. One more thing. Suresh, you want to tell about anything, what you have developed? Really, I am passionate. I am talking from my heart.
I hope people can't see me blushing because when Dinakar starts off. But I mean, we're doing what we can knock on it. And one correction is the Hero Score, the servers are in Salem itself. It's not going to the US. It's being processed locally. But I commend what Dr. Kishore is talking about, because for any advance like this, because a lot of people keep saying artificial intelligence is going to replace doctors. But rather than replace doctors, it's going to be a big assistance. Replacement is still a long way. It's like the self-driving car. Even it's going to take a long time, if it's ever successful. But there's a lot where it's going to help doctors and patients. And for example, the study that he's talking about is an excellent study because it's a need of the hour. And for that, everything has to fall in place. You need sufficient deliveries, which obviously he's got with his chain of hospitals. So he's getting the data. Today, technology is available to process that, store the data, process it, and expertise. And a lot of it, there's a difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence. It's blurred, but there's something in computers called garbage in, garbage out. As in, your output is only as good as your input data. So that's where, I mean, we started in this journey of automating and connecting, and this goes back to my time in the US, where I saw a lot of, in spite of America, you know, being the pioneers in computer technology and etc. But when it came to healthcare, there was still a large analog gap where they were not leveraging what they could do, and it's changing slowly. But I had a good partner in Dr. Ramakrishnan as a neonatologist who was also equally passionate, and we were able to, I mean, work with each other. So I think we're going off topic, so let's get back to today's topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir, over to you, sir. Prashanth.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Multi-millionaire, 500 crore boss. You can do all these things. 5,000 crore.
But I can foresee that after COVID has come, the only industry which is running in profit, or at least which is running, is the medical industry. And as Kishore sir rightly said, the next big revolution will be integration of IT technology in the medical field, which is going to give, like how Infosys is a rated company, you know, how much billion-dollar company it is. Every health sector in coming future, it's going to be really big because there's going to be a merge of technology within the medical field, and revenue is really untapped. Whatever we are seeing, government also doesn't give much of importance in terms of GDP, but what I can you know, with all the great people speaking, we can foresee and we can hope that this is going to be the next big thing, integrated approach of technology and within the medical field, which is going to revolutionize the entire concept of medical industry and even the revenue, and it's going to rule the world. That is what I feel at this point of time. I hope this comes true. So thank you very much on behalf of NNF Karnataka. We had a great discussion of these are all offbeat topics which we call, because it's not related to clinical thing, but which are very, very important. And there are a lot of business survey which is going on whether doctors should be given knowledge about all these things when they're working in the hospital. And a few of the studies have really shown a good result that if doctor is aware of the working and management of the hospital, about the profit, how much profit or how much cost the hospital is bearing, which has actually brought a good outcome at the end of the month. So all this topic, what we have been discussing, is going to be the next future thing which will be introduced, I'm sure, in our medical school, which is so important to be part of the institution rather than just blaming the owner or the managing director of the hospital. If every employee understands the cost, profit, and how the hospital runs, what are the difficulties, how they can contribute, definitely the health infrastructure is going to take a very, very big leap. So thank you once again. Thank you, Kishore sir, Dr. Shekhar, Dr. Suresh, and Dinakar sir, and all the delegates. Thank you very much. We'll catch up again this coming Wednesday with another interesting new topic. Let's see how things shape up in the coming days, and hoping for the best that medical industry is going to take a big leap in the coming days. Thank you one and all. Thank you. Have a great Sunday evening.
Thank you, Prashanth.